Did you make that your screensaver,
What?
or did it just appear?
Yeah, that's my screensaver.
I love that. The Dr. King statue
Yeah,
in DC on the
I was
mall.
out. Yeah, that was the. This picture was the
I love that.
Ministers March for Justice organized by Al Sharpton.
Okay.
And the interesting thing about that was, it's really funny. Not that anybody cares, but I'm bored talking about it. But I had got very sick before the Million Man March. I didn't know if I was going to be able to make the Million Man
Right.
March.
Remember talking about
And
that.
so I was able to do that. I just remember this particular march in August. I had a stroke a month before this particular march.
So you
Didn't
need to stay
know.
out of DC. Is that the?
No,
Is
just
that the
I got to DC. So I had the stroke.
Okay.
That would have been July 14th. Yeah, July 14th, I had the stroke. And then in August, I was able to make this march, the Ministers March for Justice. And so I was still feeling the effects. Asked, could I travel? I could travel. But man, that August sun in DC and that heat.
It's real.
So I did the march. We marched from the King Memorial to the Justice Department. I have a great picture. I know that Michelle would love Jamal Bryant in his Colin Kaepernick jersey. We were supposed to wear clergy garb, so either your vestments or collars, and so it was in a black suit. It was hot. It was hot. And so I got a chance to make it.
They don't have no summer suits as clergy, no summer white, no summer,
Well,
no
some
summer
people,
robes.
people do. Yeah, I mean, we do white, but that one was, and I admire the people who did it in full vestment.
What'd you
know,
wear?
I wore, that's the picture of me with the collar stand. I don't know if you've seen that standing in front of the statue.
Nah.
Yeah, I wore my collar.
Okay.
And but it was still a
I
black
would have
suit.
wore a collar with a beater.
Yeah, I mean,
Hood to death.
looking like
Hood to
what Flip Wilson when he played that preacher. I don't know what that preacher's name was.
Oh, I do remember. Oh my God.
Right, and he'd have the thing where the
Well,
sleeveless.
let me go because I told you your girl got his scripts.
Who?
Keisha.
Really?
She went through Christie's auction house, and they auctioned off, like I think it's almost all of the scripts from Flip Wilson's show.
Okay.
And his signed scripts where his notes was in the margin. Photos from the show set. But yeah, she bought all of that. And actually, while we were in DC for something else, she went to go pick it up. And she thought she was getting like a box. And she had bought some manuscript or some show scripts. No, it was cases. And so she ended up having to have everything shipped back to Milwaukee. But she has Flip Wilson's original stuff from his show.
What did she do with the Elephant Man bones?
I mean, I'm just telling you, bro. Like, she got a Chase Lounge in her house from Diane Carroll.
I was going to say this shit from Diane Carroll.
Yep, and then she just ordered the Diane Carroll autographed picture to hang above the Chase Lounge. So, I mean, this is what we do.
And you talk about going to DC, and I'm not superstitious. And so when they were dedicating the King Memorial, a couple of things happened. There was a earthquake that had rocked that area about a week before. And then one of the worst storms ever came in. As a matter of fact, if people know the little bit of brief history around that memorial to Dr. King, it was the Alpha brothers who initiated that. Dr. King was an Alpha, initiated that. And so the Alphas got in town Thursday, did their dedication, and got out of town because that storm was coming. I'm listening to Al Sharpton. We're going to be there. It was Friday. So I said, Lord, send me a sign. Should I go? Send me a sign. Now, we had an earthquake. These are kind of biblical signs from God. We had an earthquake. Then we had
It's dark outside.
As it gets dark, right? And then we had one of the worst storms they'd ever seen that time of year in D.C. So they ended up, I think they rescheduled it maybe a month later. Yeah. Ended up getting out there. But yeah, man, I was looking for, Lord, just give me a sign The earthquake wasn't enough. The hurricane wasn't enough.
But you were still going.
I was still going, man. I was dedicated. All right. And Carl, I'm gonna grab you right after I do the quote. This will be the jumping off point for our discussion today. 414-444-5250. Man is a political animal. Man is a political animal. This is one of the first things I remember taking my first political science class, and you start with the classics, right? You go back to Aristotle and Plato and Socrates, and you work your way back. So Plato believed that man is a political animal, meaning that humans are naturally inclined to live in communities and participate in political life, essentially stating that being a part of a society and engaging in political activity is a fundamental aspect of human nature. And I think even we went into, they said the most acts people do is a political act based on what Aristotle says and did. As I was having a conversation Sunday, and I said if I wasn't lazy, I would write a whole book on Black church politics. Black church politics. Black church politics. What's up, Jay?
Hey, Jack, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right for a black man living in America.
Hey,
Caller, welcome to Caller, welcome to the program.
there you go.
Welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning to you, brother.
Good morning, brother.
Yeah, I had to call in. I heard you talking about the old march on Washington and the march with the ministers' march. Now, we got to remember something. The minister march was only a get back when it started, that first time it started. And I was in Manhattan, and I just went on over to D.C. But it was a get back at Glenn Beck. That's why I came, because Glenn Beck was a conservative. The old zookeeper, they ran him out of there, but he drove the march that he was going to restore what Dr. King had did, and it was supposed to be bigger. And actually, he had quite a few white folk there. So Al Sharpton said, we can't let this happen. Whereas he comes steal the victory that King did in '63. So they went on out there August 28th, and that's how the ministers marched. That's how Al Sharpton came. He came to combat that. And I just felt it was my duty to go out and participate in that ministers' march because of the way Glenn Beck laid it out and what he said.
What march? Hold on.
And he has some points now.
You're confusing me, man. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah.
The Million Man March was planned.
I'm not saying the Million Man March. I said the ministers' march with Al Sharpton to combat.
Okay.
To combat Glenn Beck. The Million Man March was over in the fall.
October
this
16th.
Minister, Al Sharpton's march was to combat Glenn Beck was in August, because Glenn Beck was doing it on King's, the day that King did his thing. So, but anyway, did Michelle leave yet? Hello?
Yeah, no. We're doing something in the studio.
Well, because there was a lady there that was talking about jobs for blacks. And the lady was so proud to have just hired a Spanish-speaking person on deck with them, but it's supposed to be for blacks. Then I want to ask Michelle, though, she's probably gone. Well, what about all of the billions that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden designated for the Asian community business and contract? And we filling it back here as far as my small business for Asians. They gave over 20 billion, man. The first pot was like 16, 17, but you had to do the research on. That's what specifically for Asians. But she said she wouldn't do nothing for black folks, particular.
Well, let me ask you this.
Got to be kidding.
Let me ask you this.
I told that at y'all for kicks this morning.
Let me get out the partisan piece and get back to this. Let me ask you Meech, call back, man. 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Getting us to this point, we had a conversation with Dr. Richard Shaw, president of Micah, pastor of St. Matthew CME Church. And we also had a conversation with student minister William Muhammad, Mosque number 3 of the Nation of Islam, around this intersection or the question of faith, justice, and politics. And again, talking to faith leaders or different people who are coming from different faiths and trying to be as diverse as possible in part of this conversation. Historically, it's interesting because we have to, when I talk to Minister Greg Lewis, and he talks about his organization, Souls to the Pole, we have to differentiate between what is political and what is partisan. Say the difference. What is political, what is partisan. So at the end of Meach's statement, he got partisan, right? He went after Biden-Harris and what Biden-Harris did. But based on how we live in the world that we live in, it's always politics, man. People out trying to position themselves for power, and then how they use that power becomes the real issue. But I wanted to ask him, and I think I did ask him before, and I think he answered this in the affirmative when I asked the question, is injustice a sin? We talk so much about sin. Lord, we talk about sin. We just talk about sin. I sit in adult Sunday school, and I'm telling you, we can't get through one Sunday school class and sin don't come up. We talk so much about sin. And then some of the stuff we call in sin ain't even a sin, right? It's something you wouldn't do. It's a taboo, but it's not a sin. So I asked the question, is justice a good thing? Micah 6:8 says that the Lord requires that we seek justice. And then he says, let mercy be our first concern. So justice is something that, and another definition for justice is due, D-U-E, giving the person that which they are due, or being able to receive that which is due. Faith is those things that we practice, but justice is a tangible. Faith is an abstract in a lot of ways, right? How do you quantify faith? How do you touch faith? How do you materialize faith? It's really through an action. But justice is just that. And I don't know. It was interesting when I was speaking with Dr. Shaw, he said, he was talking about progressive. And he said that this whole progressive politics, and I said, that's not a bad thing. You would hope that society is making progress as it relates to justice. So I'm curious. Everyone's part of the conversation today. Like I said, we because we had a sudden change, we make the pivot, we make the shift. Caller, welcome to the program.
Yeah. Now, was that question
for
welcome
me,
or
back.
that was to the audience?
That's to you. When you
do
you think
justice a sin?
Is injustice a sin?
Injustice. Well, I tell you what, injustice would have to be. It depends on what kind of injustice. Some of it can just be what you call the unethical injustice.
Okay.
Where it was just an unethical move, but that was not justice. I mean, listen, man, when you start talking about sin, you have to realize something, that sin is an actual guidance. It's the ideal of sin is actually a guidance from right or wrong. And that's what we have we're depleting society of right now. No more sin. No more. Do what you want to do. And when you do that, you get rid of real morality. Every man is doing what's right in his own sight. This is not something new, Pete. If you look in the book of Judges, that's why they bought the book Judges, because the Lord looked down and seen that every man was doing what was right in his own sight. And then they appointed judges. Everybody was doing.
So let me ask you.
That's the whole thing behind the rainbow the rainbow movement. The rainbow movement is not just about homosexuals and lesbians, brother. That's a real movement, brother, that doesn't have a deity involved. They do their own thing. They meet in national parks, major national parks. And that's one reason. See, we didn't pick up on this right away. And when Obama first got in office, one of his first things that he did an executive order that you can now carry firearms in national parks. You used to couldn't go in Yellowstone and none of them major parks, Grand Canyon, down them big parks with no guns, man.
Okay,
but he did that because the rainbow movement, the rainbow family, it was called rainbow family.
Meech.
They would grab people from all over. Then they start coming from all over the world. And that's the movement.
Hold on, Meech.
We really
Hello.
haven't been able to prove it. The Rainbow Coalition was backed by that family.
The Rainbow Coalition. Meech. The Rainbow Coalition. There is a documentary called The Original Rainbow Coalition. It was created in 1967, 68 by Chairman Fred Hampton of the Black Panther Party, where he brought together Appalachian whites, he brought together indigenous people, he brought together Latino, Hispanic people, he brought together black people, right? And they came together because they had a common struggle. That was economic justice.
What are you talking about? The Rainbow family?
Right. So, and I understand now because LGBTQ uses a rainbow, this multicolored thing, to represent this whole idea of inclusion. So let me ask you this question.
But see, there you go, going back to the LGBTQ.
Well, you brought it up. I didn't bring it up. You brought it up.
Under that umbrella, brother.
Do this for me, Meech.
People think that they hijacked God's covenant.
Hey, Meech.
But this was a group of people. See, the rainbow movement is really a little cult.
Well, we do this. Tell them I'm gonna pick them up after the break and get them over there. Okay.
Not to be judged and all of that. That's a whole different.
Hey, Meech. Meech, can you hear me, Meech?
Is it a sin? It's a
okay,
sin,
Meech.
To break into this country because you're breaking the law, right?
Meech.
Okay.
Meech.
Yes.
I want you to hold on to after the break, man. That's what I'm trying to do. I want you to continue this. So hold on.
Throwing you these nuggets, man.
I know. Well, hold on. Get your nuggets together. We'll come back and you can start throwing some more.
You called me in for 15 minutes.
No, hold on, man. You're
Please.
listening to Community Voice. Hopefully, Meech is gonna hang on. We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back.
You've been missing your favorite shows. At Xavier Fox Media and Events, my co-host and I produce a reality talk show that consists of real, intense, intriguing, and informative conversation. We talk about dating and relationships, sex, physical and mental health, self-care, investing, financial management, and our panel discussions, Girl Talk and Girl Talk Plus One, are always hot. Our goal is to provide shows and events that not only entertain and educate, but also encourage positive health, mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. Shows can be seen live the third Saturday and the fourth Friday of each month on YouTube and Instagram. Every Wednesday at noon, you can listen to a new show on Spotify, and you can check out previous shows on the Xavier Fox Media and Events Facebook page. To get all that information in one place and the links to where the shows can be seen and heard, visit the website, xavierfox.com. That's XAV as in Victor, IAFOX, xavierfox.com. Make sure you keep up with what I have going on.
This Black Business Month vignette was sponsored by U.S. Bank.
If you've got the right tools and the friendly people at U.S. Bank in your corner, making smarter money choices is a piece of cake. If only our tools and helpful advisors could have helped you avoid some of those not-so-smart choices in life. Like that time you tried to pick up unicycling.
Whoa, coming through.
Or when you thought it'd be okay to pet that squirrel in the park.
Good squirrel. Good squirrel.
While we can't help you with all that, we can help you bank smartly at usbank.com/smarter together. Member FDIC.
When your child has an asthma attack, it's terrifying. You grab the inhaler as fast as you can. My son Khalil, he can't live without his inhaler, but they're expensive. The big drug companies charge families like ours $600 a month. And you know what they actually cost to make? $5. Just $5. That's why Senator Tammy Baldwin launched an investigation to crack down on those companies. And you know what? Tammy Baldwin got 3 of the biggest drug companies to lower the price of inhalers to no more than $35 a month. Tammy Baldwin, that's big savings for my family. And for a lot of families, we're breathing a lot easier. There are politicians who do a lot of talking, but Tammy Baldwin, she delivers.
I'm Tammy Baldwin. I'm running for Senate, and I approve this message. I don't work for the drug companies. I work for you. Paid for by Tammy Baldwin for Senate.
All right. Well, I don't know why I'm up in that. Welcome back. Welcome back to Community Voice. And again, we're inside Faith, Justice, Politics. Meech, you there?
Yeah, man, you didn't tell me you was taking a hard break.
Yeah, I did try to tell. I was trying to tell you. You kept on talking.
Man, you took a hard break. That's a long break.
All right, bro.
You just gonna take a little break.
All right, so let's get back to where we were.
Okay.
You know, I watched have you seen the movie Inside? Was it Inside?
No, man. No.
Inside. Well, my goddaughter had me get this movie, Inside Out, and talk about the brain.
Oh yeah.
And they had one little thing.
Yeah.
And they talked about talking about the train.
Yeah.
Was a train of thought.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
So Meech, is injustice a sin?
It depends. I answered that question.
Well, I didn't hear a yes or a no.
Okay. Well, that's come on. That's a stacked question.
Why is
injustice a sin? Because if it's not a I just said it, man. I just had it. I'm shooting off the top of my hip. If it's not not ethical, then it's just an unethical situation, which it could look like it's sin because it seems like it's injustice, but it's just unethical. You know, you can go down and say smoking cigarettes is an unethical thing to our body.
Is it a sin?
Is that a sin?
Is smoking cigarettes a sin?
Well, I would have to hold on. You know what? I got to say yes, because I'm going to go to 1 Corinthians, the 13th chapter, which says, know ye not that you are the temple of God, and if any man defile the temple, him will God destroy. So that's what we use for that particular.
Is that a sin or is it a bad behavior?
Huh? Is
it a sin or is it a bad behavior?
Well, there you go again. You're bringing me back into the ethical, see, there's a fine line, man. It's sort of like persuasion and deception.
Is drinking a sin?
I think if you get drunk, it's a sin.
Okay, but is drinking in and of itself a sin?
Well, if you come up the way I come up, it's a sin.
Okay, well, you up now. You up. So now that you up, I know how you came up. Now you up. Is it a sin?
Okay, and I would would have to agree. I'm not going to divert or deviate from what I've been taught. It's a sin.
Okay. Is smoking weed a sin?
It's a sin.
Well, you were pretty certain on smoking
reason,
weed.
Hold on, one
you
reason,
equivocated on
day.
drinking. Why you so certain on weed?
Well, they the same. They the same. What it was is that I wanted to answer it. And I wanted it to fit. I wanted it to be okay.
Okay, here's a lob. Here's a softball lob for you. Is sex outside of marriage a sin?
Of course.
Why?
Because my book.
What book is that?
Hold on.
What book?
The Bible.
Oh, the Bible.
The Bible.
Okay.
And I only believe Bible. Okay. It speaks about premarital sex, fornication. Okay. It's premarital sex. And what we've done is we've intertwined fornication and adultery together, because really adultery was a sin worthy of death. It wasn't no divorce. We divorced it now because of adultery. But in reality, adultery was a death sentence. Fornication.
A death sentence for who? Women?
For the adulterer.
For women.
For the adulteress.
For women.
No, men as well, brother.
They didn't stone men, they stoned women.
Brother, they stoned men.
No, they
too.
didn't. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Even when Jesus encountered the woman who was caught in adultery, we heard nothing had happened to the dude, right?
You know
they were
we
going after her.
You know why we didn't hear nothing about
Why?
the dude? He probably was a politician and was paid good to get from up under the action.
He did what?
Know, but I'm just saying, I'm just throwing something out there.
Yeah, exactly. Because this gets us to the whole point that how it seems to me sin is relative. It is this idea that they said the woman was caught in adultery, but they never said, and so the crowd was going after the woman. They wasn't going after the guy.
Okay, fine. I'll give you that if that's what you want to say. But
sin that's what the Bible says.
Moral guidance. Brother, do you understand without the fear of sin, we have no laws in this country? That's the rainbow stuff that we were just talking about.
We have laws and we still have sin.
Do you understand how the laws were set up?
Sort of.
No, you do.
No, I'm just saying sort of. It depends on your society. And again, this gets back to the quote that I read from Aristotle. It was politics, right? Politics decided what would be societal accepted behavior.
But where does politics get it? But hold on, where does politics get its moral base from?
I'm gonna say that politics is amoral at best.
Brother, even if you use the Webster dictionary, where did Webster get his moral compass from when it comes down to certain things such as love? That's a simple one for you. That's a soft lob to you.
Okay.
Such as love.
So is hate a sin?
Of course.
Okay.
So then you'll say, well, is love a sin?
No. Will love make you sin?
Man, love will make you do some crazy. Walk on full of Negroes that was in love. Love will make you kill. You know it will. Love will make you
stay out all night long.
Hey, Al Show said it.
That's right. Hey, look here. The other man said love will make you sleep outside in a hollow log.
Make you do wrong.
If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right.
That's right. Hey, man, let me get off the phone. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. Garvey, yes, sir.
Nope.
That's a great question.
No sin is greater than the other.
Yes, there are some sins that are worse than other sins.
No.
Yes.
How?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
How? Okay, now, hold on. Now, me and you about to get into it because Carvey going to start this up. Okay. So I got to hear this. Okay. Talk to me there, sir.
Okay. What we have done is taken that scripture that says that all have sinned.
And come short.
And come short of the glory.
Yeah.
And so then people equivocated that sin again. Let's just use sin violations, right?
Okay.
That they're all the same. No, they are not the same.
What?
If I murder somebody, that's not the same as me telling a lie.
Listen,
they're not even.
Hold on.
They're not even.
Doc, I got to stop you right
Okay,
there.
stop.
Because listen, if you commit a murder and you die.
Right.
If I tell a lie,
right,
I die.
Right.
Guess what?
What?
We gonna see each other in the same place.
And I know where you're going with this. Remember, someone came to Jesus and asked not what was the greatest sin. They asked Jesus, what is the unforgivable sin?
The unforgivable.
And what is the unforgivable sin?
Abomination? No. Wait. No.
Begins with a B.
I know this.
Blasphemy.
Blasphemy. Yeah, blasphemy.
Blasphemy. He said that was the unforgivable sin. That is mocking God. That is, in effect, not respecting God.
See, but you know, what caused blasphemy is you've been turned over to a reprobated mind.
Whatever.
So you having a reprobated mind because you don't care. So now you just spiritually, you don't care about God. So when you talk about him and you do all of this other stuff like that, when you blaspheme his name, you already got a reprobated mind state.
Well, I think it was this idea, and it goes to the first commandment in the 10 Commandments: thou shalt have no other God before me.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. This idea, but even to go in and to, you remember they called Jesus a blasphemer.
Yeah.
You know, because of the way he spoke about his relationship with the Creator. And they and people, you know, they'll call you all kind of names. It don't mean that the names are accurate. But Jesus was pretty clear. It's blasphemy. Now, are all sins forgiven? As Christians,
forgivable?
Well, forgivable as we to the divine. As Christians, we believe that sins can be and are forgiven, right? Isn't that part of the whole why we embrace Christianity? Is that we one, the word repent means that we're going to change, turn away from bad behavior. Two, we believe that God forgives sin. I think there was an instance where Jesus was admonishing some of the folks about how you want forgive. Oh, no. That's not Jesus. That's Bonhoeffer, who talks about cheap grace. And he says the cheap grace is that I want to be forgiven of my sins, but I won't forgive others of theirs. And so it is. And I say it all the time. God will forgive you. The issue ain't God's forgiveness. The issue is people's forgiveness. And people, I'm telling you, that's why I get to the other thing and I put in quotations. What is the greatest sin? The greatest sin is exposure.
See, but you know what, Keith? People you can step on a person's toe, and make them feel bad, and they won't forgive you. And this is something that happened years ago. You know what I mean? So some people are stubborn and wired like that. However, with how people say certain sins is, like how you just said, certain sins is worse than others. In the eyesight of God, sin is sin.
Right.
So, what are we talking about? Do we care what people think?
Is the consequences of those sins are going to be
different. Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
so
okay,
people act as if when you say that, we need to continue that sentence by saying, but that doesn't mean that there are not consequences for your behavior.
Exactly.
Now, what you get in Eastern thought is called karma.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You create an environment. You plant the seeds, and then certain things from your behavior will manifest themselves.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying to folks. And I think the other thing is Michelle was talking about this in terms of politics. She used this term respectability. For religion of enslaved or descendants of enslaved Africans, respectability became very important. Piety became very important. It didn't mean that people are any more spiritually awakened or spiritually. It was, I check all the boxes. I do everything. I join a church. I do church work, right? I mean, I do all those things, which are good. We need to do the work of the church. Mercy ministry is important. But that doesn't mean that individual has changed or that I'm changed just because I go to church. And so we look very respectable in the public. I say it all the time. We come to church and we are dressed up, but spiritually, emotionally, we toe up from the flow up. So what? And sometimes it puts a certain thing out there, and then something will happen, and people going, "I didn't know Keith was going through that." Well, because Keith don't come in looking like he's going through that. So anyway, phone lines are open, 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm always good. I love me. Now, I got one for you.
Okay.
Is racism a sin?
Oh, that's easy. Yes.
Is it?
Yes. Yes.
Talk to me.
Yes. Yes.
I need to know the why.
The why is people look at racism and go like, oh, it's people not liking us. They don't like us because of how we look. Racism is the actual subjugation and marginalization of a group of people. You have a person or a group of people who are in a position of hierarchy. They control it. It's based on how they look. This false construct of race is something that Dr. Jeffries from Ohio State said. He said that even though race is a construct, racism is real. We're dealing with,
okay.
And so we're still dealing with the effects of racism in America.
Okay, so when they cloned us to be like them, and then they look at us and don't like us, is that reverse racism?
Do that again.
My people came here from over in chains.
Okay.
And they took away everything, your culture, your name, your religion,
language.
And then they cloned you into being like them, and then you get the same attitude that they have. The racism, is that a sin?
Racism is a sin.
I go back to what I said. When
yes.
They cloned you to be just like them, and you have the same attitude toward them that they have against you, are you sinning?
You could if you actualize the racism. But here's the issue, though. Can black people be racist?
Yes.
How?
I can.
How?
I'm just like them white people that made me this way.
Do you have power over white people?
Do I?
I'm asking you, do you?
Yes.
What power do you have over white people? Because I want some of it.
You work with me long enough to know.
Give me some of that power. Because
you work with me long enough to know.
Yes, sir. All right, man.
Have a good day.
Oh, you too. You got that kind of power. I need to get back over that way. Caller, welcome to the program. What's happening?
Hello, Reverend. How are you, sir?
What up, Greg? How you doing, man?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for asking. Thanks for taking my call.
It was good to see you, even though under the circumstances. It was good to see you, man.
Good to see you too. So, wanted to say, got a couple that I'm dealing with in counseling, and when we talk about sins, and it's interesting because they're a godly couple, but they can't seem to forgive each other. 30 years of marriage, they're trying to call it quits because forgiveness. I think of all the sins, I personally, the one that I'm dealing with them is unforgiveness. That's the worst. I think is unforgiveness a sin.
Why would you think unforgiveness is a sin? That's interesting. Hello?
Yeah. I'm wondering because I'm because we're commanded to forgive, and and put I mean, listen, man, you got 27 years of marriage, and and you can't, it's like love covers a multitude of faults. We know that. So love is supposed to cover your mess. Love is supposed to cover your mistakes. Love is supposed to cover your missteps, your mishaps. Love is supposed to cover all of that. And it's and covering that, I guess, out of the end result of looking past the memory is forgiveness. But Is that
you know
spoken
what?
anywhere
I
in
think
Scripture?
but do you think it's how we act on that unforgiveness? I mean, because you're not forgiving is what was the thing they used to say? It's like you taking poison and expecting somebody else to die. That release, because there's three forms of forgiveness. It is exoneration, there's pardon, and then there's release, right? So when you release that person, you should also release it too. But we hold on to it. Look, man, when people hurt us, that hurt is deep. Here's the other thing about the myth about marriage. Just because people have been together for X number of years, that does not mean that it was a happy situation. Here's the other thing. Sometimes you find out that the love you thought you had for that person really wasn't enough love. Because there's some folks out there that's hard to love.
I agree. I agree. But that's what we're commanded to.
Right.
And so it's like if we're commanded to do something and don't do it, ain't that a sin? Aren't we command? How many times is asked of Jesus? So should we forget? 7? Oh no, 7 times 7, an innumerable amount of times.
7
You don't
times
add
7
it.
times 70.
Yeah, you multiply. You multiply. So if that's an acceptable premise, and unforgiveness has to be somewhere categorized up there. It has to be. I mean, because like you said, it's a poison that you carry, but it also has. I mean, you think God will judge us for that? I mean, really? I mean, I look into this because if you got Christ who was on the cross, and some of the last things he said was forgive them. I mean, one of the last things he said him, who out of everybody who knew no sin, no guilt, no stain, I mean, out of him, he should have been the last person that should have been executed for something wrong, and yet still was saying forgive them. I mean, aren't we supposed to walk in where he walked and not have a dead end when it comes to what we want to do? And I believe that's what I believe. That's what I was getting to. I believe Mitch answer was.
And that's the premise of Bonhoeffer's book, the cost of discipleship, where he talks about that what we practice is a religion, right? And so we do all the precepts, the rules, the rituals of a religion. What he is saying, what Jesus is saying, is over and beyond your religion is where are you in, and I'm using this term, I don't want to sound trite, where are you spiritually? Like, are there things, where Paul encourages people to be lovers of good, right? Lovers of good. That means that it has to be part of your DNA. Christian discipleship, true Christian discipleship is very difficult. It is very difficult because what Jesus requires of us to forgive, to love your enemy, right? That's hard. It's hard. And if people kind of, I just love my enemies. Well, I don't know. Good for you.
Lying. I want to get my lick back every time somebody says something wrong to me.
Every time, and to point out that, and the fact that we even talk about forgiveness, and this is why I would point out to people, look, I'm a Baptist, so we spend a whole lot of time around the cross. I would point out you might want to listen to what Jesus was saying on the cross, not so much he was on that cross. And what was the first utterances from Jesus on the cross? Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Right? And so, yeah, I mean, and in the midst of crucifixion, and your first statement is forgiveness, that's an incredible power, man.
Because you know how it is. It's like, she left me, good. And that's why her car went down. And that's why you know how we are? You should have stayed with me, or they should have stayed my friend. You know how we are.
Yeah, I know how we are. But sometimes
we just don't. We want to forgive, but we also want to say,
sometimes you need to get out that situation.
That vindication.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a very special place in heaven.
Vengeance is mine, and I will repay.
All right, man. You're listening to Community Voice. Call ICU. I'm going to grab you right after the break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Community Voice, man. You reminded me of Wayne's World. They do the countdown. 2. Never do the 1, right? You stop talking after 2 when you get to 2, right? Okay. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Parris. Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking my call. Assalamu alaikum to you, brothers.
Alaikum salam.
Yes, sir. Trying to say it real quick.
So I don't get it wrong.
No, not you, me. Because before I get cut, like what's that dude? The Sandman from the Apollo.
From the Apollo. Yeah.
Like y'all, the Sandman. I'm a contestant. You know.
We needed a Sandman for a couple of people at Keon's funeral last week, man. The band was trying to give hints, and dude was like, "Oh, y'all must be encouraging me." Like, no, the house music is coming on. That means you got to shut it down now.
Right.
Wrap it up.
I understand. Now, God bless that brother. May Allah be pleased with him and everybody that he touched.
Yes, sir.
I hope that they can replicate and duplicate to the best, quintessentially of their ability with regard to intention, what he had, exemplified, magnified his works, not for vanity or for vain purposes or self-aggrandizement or personal notoriety, but do it for the essence and be purposeful. If that is, because if you're not, then your vanity will lead you to your fall. Anyway, after my bad. I was thinking about what the one brother was talking about. You are talking about sin. And the brother mentioned about us being cloned into the slave masters or the slave master's children, and us exacting or being like them and then duplicating their behavior is that sin. And it's sin, but it is not our sin as a people because we have been made other than ourselves. So we don't know who we are. We're acting out of the mind of a satanic people. And if people think that Jesus died on the cross for Satan to rule with impunity, it's madness. It makes no sense at all. So the sin that we have expressed, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said this, that even though what we are doing, we're called dumb devils. We are doing the works of the devil. We have become his minion. We're doing the works of Satan. And we are consumed and possessed of his mentality throughout the whole world. Everywhere he has touched in the world, he has been successful. And he has turned right to wrong and wrong to right, left up to down, down to up, totally inside out. Everything is twisted. Whatever God say do, he say don't do. And whatever he say do, the people run forward like sheep to slaughter. So the sin that we express is redeemable, meaning that doesn't give us a pass because we're all under judgment. So don't think that just because you've been raised up by Satan that you can be Satan, because if you do that, then you're going to invoke the judgment and the annihilation of Allah, which is the hour and the time that we live in right now. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hello?
Yep.
Yes. My name is Eric. I'm calling in response. You asked the guy was injustice or sin.
Yes.
And then you asked for a yes or no answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what we have a problem with is, according to my learning from the Bible, if I'm not in the realm of forgiveness, if I'm not a child of God, everything I do is sin. I'm functioning in a sin realm. You understand what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. I don't know. I
Well,
don't know if people, wow. Like you, so you're saying we're in a perpetual state of sin where we're constantly sinning if we're not, for lack of a better term, saved?
We're trapped in a realm that everything we do is sin. Even our philanthropism, doing good for people, it's in a sin realm.
Why?
Now, that's what the Bible teaches me. I read God's word and I have to take it for what it said. I can't go and ask why God. I mean, I can do that, but am I going to really get an answer? But otherwise we're children of God. We function in a realm of forgiveness. That don't mean that we don't sin, but we have the capacity not to sin. When you're in the other realm, you're just in a sin realm. I know a lot of people probably don't receive it that way, but that's my comment.
Okay. All right. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. I have a comment on your discussion about the woman who was caught in adultery.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Leviticus, and someone said it was only women who were stoned. Leviticus 20:10 says, if a man commits adultery with the wife of his neighbor, both the adulterer and the adulteress should be stoned. So when Jesus confronted those people who brought only the woman to him, he administered justice because they weren't following the law. They said they were following the law by bringing her, but in reality, they were leaving out an essential part of obedience to what they said they were doing. So they were sinning right then by just, bringing her. And that's why he said, Jesus said, let him who is without sin cast the first stone. So Jesus administered justice because justice is equated with righteousness in the Bible, and Jesus is the justice and righteousness is in Jesus. He cannot operate aside of being those two things. So I just wanted to share that.
Okay. I think, though, it screams pretty loudly to me that the person who, there was two people. It wouldn't be adultery if it was just one person. That'd be something else. So the fact that it wasn't a man is interesting. She says it's both men and women. Keon used to always point out, he did a little research on this. When they put those crack laws on the federal books, not one white person in America was convicted under that crack law. And white people were dealing crack, white people were using crack, but only not one. So the fact that what is on the books doesn't mean how the law then is executed. Okay? And it has always been because women carry, and I put in quotations, the proof of the sin because of pregnancy, that is easy to identify her as this villain, as the sinner. Real easy to do. So, I know the book says it, but how that book is executed also becomes the issue, right? And in that issue, or in that instance, we had a situation where, no. So I don't know. I mean, even how we describe, let's say promiscuous behavior. Men and women can be equally as promiscuous. I can't even say it. Promiscuous. But who do we vilify? Men or women? More women. The terms that we use to describe. So the whole patriarchy piece is real, where it is still male dominated. James Brown, it's a man's world. That's real talk. That's real talk. So let me do this. Hey, Jay, I'm going to need a favor. We got another break coming up. $20. Okay, I need to do something. Okay. 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. The phone lines are open. Again, we're talking faith, justice, politics. It's interesting. One of the questions that I have, I admire women who accept the call to ministry. I admire that because of what they're up against, right? I mean, it is, and and I say this all the time, it's verifiable. If you look at women going into ministry, usually educationally, they are better prepared than the average male minister that's going in. Yeah. So the phone line is open. Let me do this. Can we take a bit of a musical break, if that's possible? All right. You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take this little musical break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Community Voice City. Let me thank everybody. Situation. My mom had gallbladder surgery 2 weeks ago. Had to do a follow-up. She's recuperating with my sister, so I had to take the tablet up. I'm the power of attorney, POA, so she could do the virtual visit. So this worked out. I could run up the street. Thank you, DJ Jermaine.
Hey, on your radio dial.
Hey, man, he said it was jamming. I was listening. Yeah, it was jamming. Phone lines are open, 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. This has been a crazy Wednesday. This is a wild Wednesday, man. Talking about that. But again, phone lines are open, 414-444-5250. Man. But you got to be able to think quickly on your feet.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, but again, we were talking about faith, justice, politics, the whole political piece out there, and part of what really is Wednesday, Carby, engendered this whole "let's do this" was, again, I relate to a conversation. I have conversations I've had, particularly with clergy, who are very, very concerned about Project 2025. That Project 2025, to the point that if you go to churches now, and I'm saying pastors who may or may not be as actively involved in the situation around politics and the whole piece, this was disturbing enough that it has caused a lot of people to have conversations. And as much as Donald Trump is trying to run from it, his fingerprints are all on it, because many of the people who contributed to this 930 plus page document were people who worked in his administration, was adjacent to his administration, and had things out there. For people who, and I understand where you get frustrated and you say it really doesn't matter. I think that I used to hear this a lot when I first started doing this program. People say, well, we're not playing checkers, we playing chess, right? And those are the real deep folks. And so they would always point that out. But what they're saying is that we're talking long term. I think we live in a world where everything is immediate and instant. And so we think that's the same thing when it comes to political change. That is not the case, because there's this other operative phrase out there called the status quo. You know, when Al was called, when Mr. Holmes had called and Coach had called in, and he was, asking me about this question about racism. The issue with racism isn't so much that people have prejudices against other groups of people. That happens. Hell, even among black people, we got prejudices against each other. Racism is a totally different animal, because racism controls everything from where you live, where you go to school, right? Your ability to work, your ability to access resources. All that deals in racism. And then there are policies that are put in place. There are laws that are put on the books to perpetuate and maintain the status quo. America was built on racism. America was built on racism. It was racism and white superiority that said that it didn't matter that indigenous people lived on the land. They're going to take the land from the indigenous people. And then it said, well, you know what? There are crops that we grow there that requires a great deal of human labor. So it really didn't matter that then you go to Africa particularly to find people to enslave, to then work the stolen land. I remember having this conversation with a group, I think it was this group back in the 60s and 70s. They wanted 5 states in the South to be ceded to descendants of enslaved Africans, and they would have their own nation. And to the point where there was such a threat to the American government that there was part of the attack of COINTELPRO on this particular group. There was a shootout at this home in Jackson, Mississippi. I think 1 or 2 people ended up dying from that shootout. And so I talked to one of the survivors. She wrote a book. I have her book. And we were talking about that. And then it hit me. I said, had y'all thought about the fact that you wanted to do the 5 states in the South, the displacement of indigenous people from those lands, the Trail of Tears, where they basically just cleared those indigenous people out of Florida, out of Georgia, out of Mississippi from the South and moved them to Oklahoma. Many people died. That's why they called it the Trail of Tears, where they removed them from the land. And in effect, weren't we, that group that wanted to do this, weren't we like the European conquerors who had come in to say that, it doesn't matter. There is it's called, I think it was done in 1555, the Doctrine of Discovery. The Doctrine of Discovery pretty much said that if a European country would go to a non-European place and they got there first based on the Doctrine of Discovery, then they in effect own the land. Okay? So how would that work? So you have the English who got to North America primarily on what we call now the Eastern Seaboard. You had the Spaniards who were part of Florida, Louisiana. Then you get into what is now known as Mexico. You get into Honduras. And now Honduras is really interesting because Honduras was controlled, part of it was controlled by the British. That little country Belize used to be British Honduras, right? And so when the Commonwealth was beginning to allow people a certain level of independence, the people in British Honduras did not want, they loved being a colony of England. And then you get to Panama, Colombia, where you have the Spaniards. You get to Brazil, where you have the Portuguese. And so they would take the land, and then they would find people, primarily from Africa, to come and work the land. You see descendants of enslaved Africans in Ecuador. You see descendants of enslaved people in Colombia. I never forget, I had a girlfriend. She studied overseas. She studied Spanish and psychology in, of all places, Medellin, Colombia. And I remember some of her first letters. She was so taken by the fact that there were so many descendants of Africans in Colombia. And so they were there. They were there to work the land for the Spaniards. They were there to work the land for the Portuguese, to the point that, and DJ can really go into great detail on this, Brazil had one of the most brutal forms of enslavement. They literally worked enslaved Africans to death. And because they could just go straight across the ocean, right to what is now Mozambique and Angola, because many of the descendants of Africans that you see there are from southwestern Africa, in Brazil and in Colombia and in Ecuador, because they could go right across the ocean, come right back, bring the enslaved people. It is one of those things. So as we say all the time, and I didn't coin the term, Kenya Burris did, it always gets back to slavery. It really does. Hell, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for slavery. And we're still dealing with the residual effects. Michelle was saying that the other day. It's not like we're up from enslavement. And then this is real interesting. Anybody who travels, you travel in the Caribbean, you travel in parts of South America, go to Europe. Anytime there are descendants of enslaved Africans, they are near the bottom of the economic stratas in those countries, socially, educationally. It's one of those things that, because unlike an Italian, unlike a Pole, unlike a Greek, we can change our names, but we can't change our complexion. Sammy Sosa withstanding. I mean, if you see Sammy Sosa, that's crazy, man.
Sammy Sosa looked like a loose leaf piece of paper.
Don't he? And then here's the thing. He wasn't even like a light, bright brother from the beginning. He had beautiful brown skin. And then you look up one day, who's the albino?
He was mocha. Then he went from mocha to
cream.
to cream. Yeah.
And you know what, Brother Jermaine, that's the thing. We got to we have to embrace and love ourselves. Who said that? Was that Al says it all the time. You got to love you.
Yeah.
And the ability to be able to love you, it's hard. Yesterday we had the good folks on from Ascension, and we had the doctors who work at the Ascension Center over on 22nd and Village, and they were talking about mental health. This is Mental Health Month, and one of the things I pulled up this particular document where it was saying that when it comes to mental illness, that Black folks do not experience the same level of mental illness as European and other groups. As a matter of fact, the most challenged group in America are indigenous people. Now, there's a couple of factors that probably goes into that. One of the things they pointed out was access to health insurance. So you could be struggling with mental health issues. It has not properly been diagnosed, it's not being treated. But they call it the racial paradox, because when you look at every other indices when it comes to Black people, diabetes, hypertension, premature death, infant mortality, we're at the top of the list of those negative indices. So, caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hey, what's going on, Keith?
Hey, what's happening, man?
Hey, have you seen Stacey Dash? She just as pale as a whale too.
But Stacey was always like bright.
No. You better go Google her. She's just as pale.
Okay, I thought, but she was, like I said, she started off like bright. She wasn't.
Nah.
She wasn't dark.
No, but still, she's up there with Sammy though. She pale, man.
Really?
Yeah, you better check her out, man.
I saw that movie House Arrest, and she is a very good actress. I ain't down with her politics, but when she cried, and anybody knows acting knows how difficult it is to cry on demand. I mean, it was a river of tears. It wasn't one little tear; it was a river.
Yeah. But the thing is, back then she was fine back then, but now her politics make her look ugly.
Oh, come on, man.
Man, the dude, man.
So let me ask this general question. So, are there anyone where your politics, that be anyone that had politics you didn't agree with that you still think was fine?
The crazy thing about it, I don't see too many women politicians that look good. they are funny looking.
Oh.
I'm gonna put it this way: Omarosa look better now than she was when she was doing politics back then.
Omarosa is a beautiful Black woman.
That's what I'm saying. But she looks much better now though to me though. I guess.
She looks much better now because she got off the plantation.
Yeah.
Boy. So you want a free Black woman? That's what you looking for, right?
Hey, with the comb and hitting the head and the hair nappy and all. and she might have had a relaxer too. For real. For real.
Yeah, I was giving Stacey Dashes all kind, and don't get me talking about old Candace Owens. Lord,
man, she gets uglier and uglier.
Is that right?
Oh man, she gets uglier and uglier, man.
So your politics could impact how people view you in terms of your looks.
Hey, it is what it is, but hey, they do it to us all the time, ain't it?
All right, man. I so I gotta go and take a look at Stacey. That sure wasn't makeup.
No, they don't makeup. No.
She didn't take the picture in the wintertime. We get a little lighter in the winter.
It ain't wintertime.
Oh, okay. All right.
and let's not skip over the fact that Green Bay's in trouble again since they running back is hurt for the rest of the year.
Stop it, man.
He wasn't a starter. We
man.
got a starter.
Stop it.
Dude wasn't a starter.
We got Jacobs. Yeah, man. Stop it, man.
I knew to get that. Hey, here comes the right again.
What was crazy, man? My buddy.
I got the people in the office in the back coming out the back of the office.
Yeah, right there, bro. But what's crazy? My buddy came up and he started talking about the Bucs. I said, "Wait, whoa!"
Oh man,
it's football season, man.
It's football football season,
It's
man.
football
we discussing
season.
that.
We don't talk about the Bucks
We over
now.
that. We over that, man. We gotta wait till the winter. We gotta wait till the winter over with, man.
That's right, man. You know, basketball doesn't start until All-Star break anyway.
Yeah, but golly, man, we didn't even got football. You ain't talking about basketball? He's still in his feelings.
Man, I was looking like, dude, it's too early. It's too early, man. This is my happy season.
Yeah,
football.
Hey,
No, man, football is my
Keith,
happy place. That's my happy season, man.
Keith, you too early because you if the Packers get to lose, it ain't gonna be too happy for you.
Oh
you ain't gonna be talking about it.
The whole world changes.
Yeah. We know
I have to take full advantage of my health plan, going in, talking to a therapist, getting through it.
Keith. We ain't gonna do ifs around here, man.
No, we ain't gonna.
We don't do ifs around here, brother.
I just got over the greatest collapse in Green Bay history, the Seattle Seahawks.
My God,
remember that one?
Wait.
I just got over that.
Wait, but my brother though, I don't think my brother knows that I'm a diehard Seahawks fan. So
is that right?
Will never get over that.
Yeah. And here's the crazy thing, Mr. Bostic. That's the guy you talking about, Jermaine. Number 85.
Hey, but listen,
number 85.
Listen, they told him before they went out there, do not
say it again.
And right after that game, they fired that cat, man. They cut
he had to leave the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, they cut that cat.
Man, that was crazy.
He couldn't even get on the plane, man.
You know what's really crazy? What he was supposed to do was block. The dude he was supposed to block ended up recovering the football.
But he said in his interview, he said that at the last moment he decided
he did what?
And to be a hero.
Wrong.
That cat failed.
Wrong.
Okay,
at the last moment. That's why I'm a Bill Belichick guy. Do your damn job.
Yeah.
That's all you do. Do your job. We didn't ask you to be here with Jordy Nelson.
They told him to block because the dude behind him wasn't going to get it.
Right.
But he decided he wanted to be.
That would be Jordy Nelson.
Yep. So it
was. Who's the team? Who's the team y'all looking forward to watch this year? Not besides your team. Pick another team who you really want to look at this year. See what they do.
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
I want to see the ball. I want to see what Baltimore and the Steelers do.
No, man. I want to see.
I think Lamar
I want to see
Jackson
Washington, man. I want to see Washington. Man, Washington with Jaden Daniels. Listen, man, I'm telling you, Washington has a gem, man.
But I'm gonna tell you who we should be worried about. We need to be worried about Chicago.
Oh yeah, Chicago look good, man. Offense and defense.
Offense and defense. We need to be worried about Chicago this
Houston
year.
looks good too.
Houston is that you talking about the surprise team of last season was Houston.
Man.
That was supposed to be a rebuilding year for them.
And guess what? They ain't gonna be no another rookie quarterback coming out of a year like he did. It'll be another 15, 20 years.
I think Caleb Williams might have that year.
Or Jaden.
No, they hyping him up. They hyping him up. He ain't gonna be. They
Look,
hyping
man,
him up
the
too
fact
much.
that we're saying anything nice about anybody in Chicago might be an indicator of something. Because I hate on Chicago. Man, I was down in Kenosha and I could feel the vibes. They had a silent auction.
Yeah.
And one of the was like for the Bulls game. I'm going, no, there's a Bucks tickets. Oh, I forgot I'm in Northern Illinois when you're in Kenosha. Man,
you
that's
pushing
bear
it.
country. That is
pushing
bear country, dude.
The thing is, though, people from Milwaukee hate Chicago, but we love to go there and get that food from Chicago.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine, but we don't like
that. Don't mean I got to cheer for the sports team because they got good food.
I'm going to get a piece of meat,
man. Dude,
I'll
eat their food. I ain't gonna cheer for the Bears.
You better believe it.
As good as the Bears was in 1985, I didn't cheer for the Bears. I didn't cheer for the Bears. You just man, and then you got some dudes who are bold enough to walk around here in Bears gear. Like, come on, man.
Well, they're from Chicago. They're from Chicago. They got to wear what they got to wear.
And have you noticed something? This is the one interesting thing about Green Bay and Chicago. Look at a Green Bay Packer game when they play the Bears at Lambeau and see how many Bear fans you see in that stand.
Well, that's because they can't get tickets, man.
They ain't gonna get tickets.
They ain't gonna get tickets.
Ain't nobody gonna sell them tickets.
They ain't gonna sell it to them.
All right.
No.
Go down to Chicago.
All right.
And you don't see a lot of green and gold in the stand. They're not selling tickets.
But let me tell you this. Here in Phoenix, any team besides the Cardinals. So if the Packers play, the that is going to be Green Bay Stadium.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
When
true.
Seattle
Yeah.
play, Seattle, when any other team that plays here in Arizona, that is their stadium
Yep.
for that game.
Yeah.
You know what that's like, bro? That's like the old ABA. Like any game the Dr. G plays,
Oh, yeah,
they
man.
sell out.
They sell
Any
out.
other game, ain't nobody there. The locals don't even come out. But
Nah,
even
the
you see
locals
this
don't
with
even come
Caitlin
out.
Clark because they just played up in Minnesota, and
they
half the
sold out.
fans, right? Half the
Well,
fans were like Fever fans.
She still ain't all that. I'm sorry. Angel Reese is still killing it. Angel Reese is still killing it. They don't give her the same props. They
'Cause,
don't.
man, they got 2 different games though, bro.
Yeah, but still, okay, but vice versa. I still don't think she'll get that because of that colored skin burial thing.
That is true. However, you do have to admit that she can shoot out the gym, bro. She can shoot.
Yes, she can.
She can let
But
it
guess
ride,
what?
and hold up, and she see the floor great, so she got good point guard vision.
I'm trying to think who did she cross over? Was it Asia Wilson?
She crossed
crossed
somebody.
over so
Yeah.
bad. That crossover was that was like Iverson on Jordan.
Yeah.
She crossed over her. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
okay.
so you do have to admit for
play,
a white
man.
girl, she got
No, period.
for
Oh yeah,
period.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
she got
fine.
skill.
That's fine. But I'm just saying I'm saying what Angel Reese has done is still
That's true.
top tier.
Yeah,
Ain't
but-
nobody ain't doing that.
Yeah, but they could be co-rookies of the year.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Mm.
I think that
They
they
gonna
could.
they ain't gonna give it to and they gonna give it to Angel Reese. We already know that. Come on now.
Let me
We
say
already
this
know
though.
that.
Let me say this. Caitlin Clark has made a whole lot of money for the WNBA.
But she don't make no money from the NBA.
She
makes
don't,
more money.
but she's
She
made
makes
a
more
whole lot of money for the
a whole bunch of
WNBA.
money.
Yeah.
All her money's come from
For endorsements.
Yeah.
That's all of them. Ain't none of them, making. I'm not even going to start talking about NBA because we ain't talking about the NBA, man. But anyway,
No,
but no. What I'm saying
is,
is, whether we like that idea or not, that woman has generated a whole lot of interest in the WNBA.
Yeah.
People said that, well, the Olympics was just good. You end up watching it anyway.
Yeah.
But no, man, it don't. It's like Larry Bird. You used to have dudes sitting out, oh, Larry Bird, just a white boy. No,
Man, Larry
Bird is Larry
Zorro,
Bird,
that cat,
dude.
Zorro.
They showed the Atlanta game when he dropped the 60.
Dude, he told Dominique, he was like, I'm gonna shoot from in this corner, I'm gonna shoot it in your face, and I'm gonna make it.
And nothing you could do.
And
nothing you could do.
Man, Dominique Wilkins told that story.
What was the story though when he got offended by Nelly putting Fred Roberts on him? He got offended. So he running by the bench saying to Nelly, "You put Fred Roberts on me?"
Yeah, like I'm a torch.
He getting ready to drop 50. I'm getting ready to torch him. Really? That the level of disrespect? You put this dude on me? Come on, man. Really? No, I mean, and I think but that's the issue about racism in America, that we will go in much to our detriment and dismiss someone because of how they look.
Yeah.
Right? So if that's the case, if we dismiss Eminem on how we look, one of the greatest rappers in history, black or white, I mean, you can miss that. Like you got these country western folks out here. I just listened to that country western song Beyonce did.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
All right. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey, Keith, how you doing?
I'm good,
It's
John.
Larry Bird.
What's happening?
You didn't hear me. I said, this is Larry Bird. Anyways, what do you think of this new thing with Candace Owens? Have you followed her lately?
No.
Oh, I know you said some stuff about
You,
her.
you're a Candace Owens fan?
No.
Why not?
No, way back.
Why not?
Well,
What's
I
wrong
knew
with
there was
Candace?
I knew there was something suspicious about her way back because she talked too fast and she changed her mind too fast. People change, but so what happened now? She went from a kind of conventional, I'm a black person, I've discovered conservatism, pretty predictable. Everything she said was pretty predictable, but because she was a black conservative, she was the darling, and everybody wanted her because she talks fast and like you said, she's nice to look at.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you said she's an airhead. I can't remember. You might have said she was an airhead or something. I don't remember. But boy, has she gone crazy. She started this thing with what's his name, Tucker Carlson, another guy that I always avoided.
Mm-hmm.
You're familiar with him, right? Pasty faced, like as cliche stereotype as you can get. Likes picking on potheads and those kind of conservatives.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
He likes picking on
Oh,
potheads.
wait a minute. Did you identify one of the fastest growing constituencies in the world? I mean, in the country that she's going after, weed smokers?
Tucker Carlson he's the type that picks on potheads. He's the type that wouldn't get along with Thomas Sowell, who wouldn't get along with Milton Friedman. He would just sit there and, pay what he has to Milton Friedman, because Milton Friedman's a libertarian, right? So he'd be against the drug war. Whereas Tucker Carlson will waste time picking on potheads. Like, why do you do that? There's something with these guys. They're addicted to power, I think.
Which is interesting because, one of the number one lobbyists for the expansion of the cannabis industry is John Boehner.
Yeah, and then what's that governor?
Oh, Tupac John.
Huckabee did it too. Huckabee went that direction too. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's funny because, one of the reasons why him and Obama got along so well, they really liked each other. They were smokers. They were smokers. And so I'm sure when he said to Michelle, yeah, I got to go and meet with John Boehner today, she said, you better not smoke a cigarette with him. I won't. But it was really surprising, their level of relationship. They really got along well. I mean, obviously they went in different directions politically, but personally, they had a real good relationship. And I keep waiting for John Boehner to come here and spend some money in Wisconsin, so we can, because Wisconsin's an island right now when it comes to cannabis. Everybody around us has legalized it for both recreational and medical uses.
Yeah.
And
our
so,
Republicans are really slow.
Yeah, they want to do it for
favor.
medicinal reasons, but at the same time, you allow one of the more destructive form alcohol is freely available.
Oh God! Oh my God! To compare it's uncomparable. What did you say about Candace? You have to go. Your music's coming.
I don't know what to say about Candace. I know I can't say anything nice on Fridays because DJ will go through the roof. Now, but then at the same time, then you bring in, what's her name? Rose. God, is it Annie Rose? I don't.
The one you just mentioned a couple of minutes ago.
No, the sister with the short hair, great body. I can't think of her name now.
Black woman?
No, she spoke at the Republican National Convention.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't remember.
Why I can't think of her name? Is it Amber Rose?
I can't remember.
No, who's the girl, blonde hair? Amber Rose.
I can't remember.
Snowball.
But the thing with what's her name is she started this anti-Jewish thing because he hooked up with some Christian Arab guy. So Tucker Carlson started with some Arab Christian guy, and they started accusing Israel of attacking Christians. So she got into it with all these people, and now she sounds like she's going deeper and deeper into all this conspiracy stuff. It's just really
John,
bizarre.
I don't know if you're paying attention to this, but the hostage that they just rescued, he was a Bedouin.
He looked like his name, yeah.
Yeah, he was a Bedouin. He wasn't. I don't think he was Jewish. I think he was a Bedouin. So
I think you're right.
Because I was wondering why there was a Jewish individual in the hospital room, but there was another guy in there who obviously looked like he was Muslim, and found out, he's a Bedouin.
His name too, right? Yeah, Arabic name. I had heard there was a few Bedouins down there,
right?
That's their homeland in the south.
And then in the Gaza, the Golan Heights. Those were Druid Christians, right?
No, they're it's a separate sect. They're offshoot of Islam, but they have a strange. Yeah, you were talking about it one day. Yeah. They're loyal to their neighbors and their friends and whoever is the sovereign. They never attack their sovereign. So Syrian Druze will be loyal to Syria. Lebanese Druze will be loyal to Lebanon. So they can actually fight their own people across the border. So they've applied for military service in the Israeli army. They've been doing it like Bedouins for years. Okay. And the people there are actually becoming citizens of Israel slowly. And those people, how could that have happened? How could have Hezbollah missed? You know what I mean? Why would they have hit that?
I think that's the problem. Every now and then you get people going rogue. Let me appreciate, man. Gotta go.
Okay,
All right, you're listening to Community Voice. We're up on the last break of the program. We'll be right back. Ways world, ways. Party time. Excellent.
Dude. Do that.
Swing.
Oh,
Swing.
that's a girl. Do it.
Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing good. It's Brother Marquise.
Hey, bro, Marquise.
Okay. Oh, I'm on the air.
Yeah.
Oh,
You don't want to be on the air?
Yeah. Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I did a little tribute. I'm Keon Jackson Malone's cousin.
Okay.
And I wrote a speech for him, but I didn't get to read it at the funeral. Could I read it to you guys? I know you guys know my
I tell you
cousin.
what, why don't you call tomorrow, because we got to wrap it up, and I want you to give full time to give full expression. So if you call back tomorrow, I'll let you, I'll give you full reign.
This Mr. Parris?
That's Mr. Parris, yep.
Oh, okay. Oh, what time you want me to call in?
I'm on from anytime between 9 and 11 tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I'll call you tomorrow. And God bless you.
All right, bless you too, man.
God bless you, and I enjoy this show. And thank you for showing love to my cousin Keon.
It was hard, but I did it.
It was
because that dude could get me on 37, and I'm like the mellowest guy ever, man. And he would sit back there, and he just wait, he just be waiting, and then in that vulnerable moment, like he's sneaking in, I'm going, man, did you just cut me? Anyway, Jermaine, thank you. Debo, thank you. Carby, thank you. Listeners, thank you for bailing me out today. I appreciate that. The good Lord will and Creek No Rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place and see.